And today we got another quick little tool review that we're doing here. I've basically just revamping my whole arsenal of tools and replacing some of my worn out stuff. So we'll probably have a few tool reviews because I changed up some makes and some brands. Now one of my bigger problems is I always used CLC tool bags, and the one that I liked they didn't seem to make anymore. And once mine finally died, I kind of just got an intern bag, just something cheap that I could put tools in, and that ended up being just a Husky bag that I picked up at Home Depot. Just with something to put my tools in until I could find a bag that I really liked. And my biggest problem with this bag is it's basically just too big. The bigger the bag, the more shit I tend to accumulate in it, and the heavier it tends to get. I've always admired the Veto bags. They have an LC and an XL. I always kind of liked them. They were very, very expensive, but I didn't quite like the pocket layout on them. The pockets were really, really wide, and if you put a screwdriver in there, they tended to fall through the bottom. But they came out with a new version specifically geared towards the HVAC field, and that's the Tech series. Now this is a Tech-LC, which is a smaller one. They have a Tech-XL, which is 3 inches wider. But I wanted to go with the smaller bag because I want to put just what I need into this, and I kind of want to try to not accumulate a lot of extra stuff. Like by accumulation of extra stuff, I'm talking about I have I know I'm carrying around wrenches that I don't really use a lot. And I'm carrying around usually a lot of stuff ends up at the bottom of the bag when you're cleaning up your work area at work, and you just got to get out of there. You tend to kind of grab everything and just throw it in your bag, and I kind of tend to get a lot of loose screws and wire nuts and things like that floating around the bottom of the bag. Plus that bag there, it opens on the top and you have to reach in for all the tools. This one's a little bit different. Now these are relatively expensive in the scheme of tool bags. I think these actually list for in the 200s, and I got them through my supplier for less than that, obviously with my contractor discount, but it's still a relatively pricey bag. But the things I like about it, especially for me where I'm working outside a lot and I'm also working in a lot of kitchens and stuff where the floors really aren't that clean and the roofs are if it's raining out, the roofs and everything are wet, is the bottom of this here is plastic. So you pretty much got 2.5 to 3 inches of waterproofing on the bottom, and it's hard. And also it stands up, and it stands up of its own free will. You're not kind of propping it up against something. Nothing is going to really tip this open. I'll take a quick look inside here. This has a hard plastic shell back that is making this stand up, and this is a heavy-duty plastic handle. Also, what you can do too, this is a lot nicer because you can actually open up just the section you want. All your tools are right in front of you. You're not kind of rooting around in a bag to find your larger items. You can stack everything the way you need it. Also, to keep this from kind of getting all schmutzed on the floor, you see these snaps here. You can actually fold this down, snap it together, and then fold it down and snap it again when you're working out of it. So this isn't floating around in the muck of wherever you happen to be. Also, another big thing with all the tool bags I've ever had is I always have the shoulder strap on there because I'm going up and down ladders and I need to be able to hop this thing over my shoulder. Well, problem is when you put it down on the roof, of course this lands right in a puddle no matter what you do. Well, they got this little nifty clip here that clips right to that handle. So that's hanging out up there, and that's a positive clip. That's going nowhere. My only thing is I'm feeling this, and that's really hard plastic. I have a sneaking suspicion that eventually that's going to catch something and break off, but we'll see how long that lasts. Now on the outside here we have just a small pocket here. Whoops. That is pretty much this area here. We have another larger pocket here, and that is pretty much this area here. Also, you can see a couple of D-rings to hang whatever else you got to hang off of it. Now inside here, let me see if you can just zoom in just a hair more. We have one pocket up here, these little pockets here. Now this is all stretchy elastic nylon here, which is really nice. So if you have something small, like a bit for your drill, like a nut drive or something, you can stick that right in there, and that'll hold it. You won't have to go rooting around in those little holes to find it. So you have pretty much a row of that. And then here are, like, you know, your pliers and whatnot slots. You also have a couple of smaller, as you can see in there, screwdriver little rings on the inside here. You have another set of the screwdriver holders and rings here, and then your larger pockets for your pliers and whatever else you need. Now the difference between this and the regular LC and XL series is the back. Usually at the LC and XL series, whatever's in this side is basically just mirrored on the other side. This one's a little bit different. On this side here, on the outside, we have a buckled little cabinet here, and we can get a good look in there or not. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit better so you can see. There's a couple of smaller pockets in there. I don't know if you guys can see them, but there's one here, and then buried way inside there, there's some other little pockets in here for holding the bits for your drill and things like that. And that's just a buckled pocket that has no zipper. Up top here is another zipper cabinet that mirrors the other side here, and the D-rings that mirror the opposite side. Now, like I said, the difference between this and the regular LC and XLs is all in this side. And this was meant basically for HVAC field and electricians also. This would be pretty good for you guys. You can see these big pockets here. These are meant to hold all your meters and all your diagnostic equipment and everything else. So, like mine comes in, my steel piece meter here, I always keep in my bag, but I keep it in its own little case here. So now I can either keep this entire case in here, it fits nice in there, or I can actually take the meter out and it'll fit right into one of these pockets. Plus you have another row of those little small stretchy holders there, and then you also have another full-length zippered pocket that's about that deep. And there's another D-ring in here, and then right here is another like screwdriver pocket, or whatever you want to use that for there, right in that back corner. And there's a few other ones right in here. Now the other thing is, on the outside we got a tape measure clip. Here's another D-ring, and then on the other side we have another D-ring, two other outside pockets, and another outside pocket, which I'll probably end up putting my markers in here, and probably my utility knife in here. And this right here is a tape hanger for electrical tape or what have you. Just fit it through the tape and then let it hang right off of it. So we'll kind of outfit this now, and we'll go through my bag I've been using, and we'll stack everything in here and see how it looks when we're done. Alright, we got all our tools back in here and kind of organized pretty much the way we want. I mean, as I use it, I might have to move some things around, but we'll start on the outside first. And on this side here, I have nothing in this pocket, but up here I have a tube of good old leak lock. This is kind of like liquid Teflon sealer for refrigeration systems. I use it to seal flare nuts and stuff like that. It's granted, you don't need it on a flare nut if it's flared correctly, but this will help with units that will have a lot of vibration. It won't allow that flare nut to back off and help it seal better. See outside we got our tape roll on a little tape hanger here, utility knife, Sharpie, pencil. Back here we have, you can see down in here, these are the nut drivers for my drill, And this is a piercing valve for any unit that doesn't have a service port on there. I usually have two in my bag, but I only happen to have one in the other bag, so one's going to fit in that pocket there, and this other pocket will hold the other one. And let's take a peek at the tool compartment here. See if I can get these all snapped in where they should go. Okay, I have a feeling that snap's never going to get snapped. There it is. Okay, so we change up some of our tools too, well, tool makes rather. We got up here, I retired my old trusty Greenleys, and we went with a pair of smaller Nipex. Well, no, you're going to look at it like that. Nipex needle nose here. Might do a review on these two things at some point if there's enough interest. We also have, I traded in my Kleins for some Nipex dikes here. Like I said, if there's enough interest, we'll do a comparison between this and the Milwaukee's and stuff. My Milwaukee linemen's here, I really do like these, so those stay in there. Now that I dropped it, good old trusty Greenlee crimpers. These are for, I don't carry the wire strippers with the crimpers on it because I don't use wire strippers. I use either linemen's or dikes to strip the wires. So I have a dedicated actual crimper, and this is a Greenlee. I like the Greenlees better than the Kleins personally. Like I said, it's just a personal preference. The Klein ones, I think, they're a little bit longer than this, a little more unwieldy. These ones I do like better. See this wrench here. This is actually a fuel filter wrench. This thing is ancient. This was actually my father's. Just so happens that this, on these expansion valves, you see how much room you have here? You have like this little face to grab here, and then you have the body that's a hex. Well, this happens to be the perfect size for these heads, and fits right on there. So that's why that lives in there. We have good old, starting from the bottom here, we got two 6-inch adjustables. We got a 12-inch adjustable. There's a 8-inch adjustable and a 10-inch adjustable. Very important tools. Pair of linemen's also, not linemen's, sorry, channel locks, very important. These are also channel locks, real channel locks. These are the only ones that I buy. If you're looking for any channel lock, just make sure it has a riveted head and make sure it's not a screw, because that screw will loosen up and it will slide when you go to grab something, and you will pinch your finger between them. And this is the head. They have multiple head configurations, but this is the one that I like, with this pretty much a straight jaws. Some of them have the little notch for the like to grab a nut on the edges. I found those pretty much useless, and you know, these work a little bit better here. Back behind here we have another very important HVAC tool. This is a service valve wrench. I use the crook ones, the offset ones here. These tend to get you in a little bit better places than the regular straight ones. And these happen to be Imperial brand. Yellow Jacket also makes one. For whatever reason, I find that the Imperials last longer than the Yellow Jackets. The Yellow Jackets, I've actually spread and bent these apart, and this little ratchety reverse lock here tends to break on the Yellow Jacket ones. And all this is basically a squared ratchet, different sizes on each end. and these will grab a service valve. You put your gauges on there, and this will open up the valve so you can get your pressures. And set of electricians style Allen wrenches. I do have a set of the long Allen wrenches, and I have a set of the regular Allen wrenches that I leave in my truck, just because sometimes you can't get kind of this whole configuration in there to get a fan blade or something. But I like having these in the bag because the other ones kind of tend to come out, and you tend to lose one. And of course, the one that you lose is always the one that you need. And this just has them all together in one easy, convenient package. We have a set of, back here, a set of Klein nut drivers from 5/16 to 1/2 inch. Actually, I got Klein 5/16, 3/8, and 1/4 inch. Was that a Husky 7/16, and I think that's a no-name brand 1/2 inch. Those are pretty much the most common sizes that you're going to come across. So those are the only ones that I really need to carry. And I have a Beater Harbor Freight flathead / pry bar / chisel / dual screwdriver if I ever need it. It has a little, metal head on it. It's like, I think you get a set of these for like $7. I keep this in here as a beater, like I said, a little pry bar. If you got to pry something, and usually the doors on units stick, use this as a pry bar to get everything off. That way I'm not ruining my good screwdrivers. I do have my little Milwaukee 6 and 12 in 1 here. I like keeping these in the bag because a lot of times you'll have your tool bag on the roof, and you got to run down and say check something and take a panel off, rather than having to lug the whole bag down because you don't know what screws are holding said panel on, whether it be 5/16, 1/4 inch, Phillips, or whatever. You can kind of just take this down with you, leave the bag on the roof. So that's why those are in there, even though I have the set of the screwdrivers. Now I got a new set of screwdrivers. These are the wearer ones, and they're very good so far. They fit my hand nice. They have this little laser tip doohickey on the end, and like I said, if there's enough interest in these, we'll kind of do a comparison between those and the Kleins. And we have the freebie screwdriver that you get at every supply house. It's good for controls, good for thermostats, and it also has a Schrader pin remover on the back. He lives up there. And then we kind of have a set of little cheapo set of Torx here. Now these are the ones with the little hole in the middle for when they have the peg. You don't generally run into a lot of these, but sometimes there is a Torx bolt holding fan blades on, so you do need a set of these, but you very rarely use them, so that's why this is just a cheapo version. And we have a kind of an interesting tool here. This is a core removal tool, but this is for changing the Schrader pins in a unit while it's under pressure. So what you do is you screw this onto the service port here. You can see there's a little Schrader pin remover on the end, which is this dial. So you unscrew the pin. The pin is trapped in those little slots there. You pull the pin back. You close this ball valve. Hang on one second. There we go. Pull it all the way back. Close that ball valve. And then unscrew this end. And your Schrader pin will be captured on the end. Put the new Schrader pin in. Open your ball valve up. Push it back. Tighten it down, and you're all set. These are very good, like if you have a leaking Schrader pin, and obviously you don't want to have to recover the refrigerant or pump the unit down, you can just slap this on there real quick, pop a new Schrader pin out. Also, when you're vacuuming a unit, or even checking the charger or charging, you're only going through the little Schrader pin. Those Schrader pins, only just like the ones that are on your car, only move like a fraction of a amount, and all you're getting is a little bit of an opening. What you can do, you can see this has a port here that's before this ball valve. So what you can actually do is take the Schrader pin out of the unit, close the ball valve here, have your gauges hooked up to here, and you have a bigger port size to be able to vacuum faster or to be able to charge faster. These work wonders. Always carry one. So that's pretty much, oh, and we got stubby 6-in-1. These are great. This is a little baby Klein, and you know, you get small flattened Phillips, a larger flattened Phillips, and you also have a 1/4-inch nut driver and a 5/16 nut driver. You don't need stubbies a lot, but when you do need them, they're pretty much invaluable. In having the configuration of all of them, flat Phillips, 5/16, 1/4-inch, makes this a really good tool. Also, if you notice too how small this is, I mean, this is only, actual total length on this thing is about 3 inches, about 3 inches long. Our regular stubby is longer, so this is actually even shorter than a regular stubby screwdriver. So you can get in some really tight areas with this. And he lives right there. And on this side here is all my pretty much diagnostic stuff, and also my drill. So my drill fits perfectly in there. I have laid out up here the bits for it. Here's an extension. Here's my most commonly used sizes of the regular bits, like the flats and the Phillips, a couple of squares, and a Torx are up there. Also, I have hanging out in here is one of those flexible extensions. These also work real well if you got to get in a really tight area. This is just a little plastic, you know, one of those containers I picked up at Home Depot. And basically, all this has in it is all my loose stuff. So we got some red wire nuts, orange wire nuts, 5/16 self-tappers, a couple of Romex connectors, some blue stake-ons, female and fork, yellow fork stake-ons, yellow female stake-ons, the fully insulated stake-ons, and then also the rabbit ear jumpers that turn one female into two. It turns one male blade into two, so you can hook 2 wires up to one terminal. These also work good for diagnosing things. If you need to jump things out instead of cutting the wires and wiring out in them, you can just pop them right into this for a temporary thing, or permanent, depending on what you're doing. And then we just have a meter which fits beautifully in here. The amp probe head for a meter. This is just a little bristle brush I use to clean condensers. This is a fin cone. This is like a stiff metal brush with an adjustment. That's what this slide is right here. And this is when the condenser fins get all mashed over from somebody either hitting the unit, kicking the unit, or cleaning it improperly. This goes in there and separates the fins back out again. And then we have a couple of thermometers, which are also pretty important, especially not so much in air conditioning, but I do a lot of refrigeration, so I need to know accurate temps. And I never trust the thermometers that my customers have in their units. I never trust the thermometer on the outside of the refrigerator. So I always have these. Granted, this here does have its own electronic thermometer on it, probe that you can plug into it. But sometimes, you know, I have multiple units that are down, so I can just throw one of these in the unit or throw one of these in the walk-in and use this to diagnose or whatever. Or a lot of times I can use these to check 2 different spots, especially in the walk-in. So it's going to be, obviously it's going to be colder by the coil, warmer by the door, so I can get what the difference in temp is. And just to show the customer, because a lot of complaint is they put very temperature sensitive products against the coil. Stuff like lettuce, tomatoes, strawberries, things like that that are kind of sensitive to the freezing temperature. and you get 20-something degree air blowing off that coil right onto the food, and they're wondering why it's freezing over there but not in the corner. Usually that's why. But so these live in here. And then just up in this here is where all my extra little Gotsis for my meter are. The alligator clips, the needle probes, and that temperature probe actually lives up here too. So all in all, I mean, I could fit everything that I need in here. This is a hell of a lot lighter than the other bag could, and I kind of have a lot less of a chance of collecting a lot of junk that I don't need because it's not open. Unlike my other bag, which in all honesty, I very rarely zippered up. Most of the stuff sat inside of it. You kind of just either find something on the floor in your truck, or you know, and you just throw it in there, or you happen to need a wrench, a special wrench or a vice grip. So you get on a truck, get your vice grips, and then you know at the end of your job you throw it in that bag, and you know, it lives there for the rest of its life. So at least this way here, it's kind of you know, everything has its own set place. So and also it's a little bit better for making sure that you have all your tools when you're leaving the roof. This way here, if I see an empty spot in the bag, I know something's missing. Also, just another thing with these bags is they do have a 5-year warranty to them. Now that's 5-year warranty from defects, not from abuse. So you can actually look at their website and tell you what's covered and what's not. And like, you know, a hole, like a rip in the fabric, not by that's caused by a tool, not covered. Damage to the zippers is not covered. But say all of a sudden, you know, this seam rips apart, that's covered, or something, you know, something along the lines of that. Or you know, this rivet all of a sudden lets go and pops out, that'd be covered. But you do have to, for the 5-year warranty, you have to register it, and it tells you how to do it online. You have to register the bag, and also it says 0 downtime warranty. What it is you contact them, and then they will send you a bag, a loaner bag. So you talk to them, you give them your credit card. They will they'll send you a loaner bag and charge you for the loaner bag. Okay? Then you send your bag to them. They will fix it. They will either do it under warranty or repair it at cost. So in other words, say you have a ripped zipper and that's not covered under warranty. You can still get them to repair it, but you have to pay them. Then they send this bag back to you. You send the loaner bag back to them. Once they get the loaner bag back, they credit you the price of the loaner bag. That's kind of how that works. Hopefully I don't have to go through that process, but that's pretty much how that whole deal works. So far, I mean, not that I've done much with it, except for put tools in it and carry it around and feel the weight. But so far, I'm pretty happy with it. We'll see longevity of it, and if I have any problems down the line, I'll definitely let you guys know about it. But all in all, I really do like it. The only thing I don't like about it is the price. It is very, very, very expensive, and they're only sold through a few real retailers. I bought this at my supply house, and like I said, these things list for I think it's $230s or $240s or something like that. And obviously I did not pay that because of my contractor discount and everything else like that. But in terms of the bag, I think that Husky bag cost me like 30 bucks. So and I've had that for, geez, probably going on 4 years. Probably going on 4 years I've had that. I think I paid like maybe $35, $40 for it. So, I mean, you kind of have to weigh the price against what you want. And, you know, go from there. The one thing I really do like is this plastic bottom. I like that a lot. I like the size of it, the way that it's set up. They do also make a backpack of this. The only thing with the backpack is you only get one side of tool opening. This side opens. I think the other side does open, but it's a little bit different. And it's slightly narrower and taller. The reason why I didn't particularly like that one is I didn't want the shoulder straps floating in all kinds of crap on the door, and plus it looked really top heavy. It looked like it would fall over more than this. I mean, this ain't gonna, unless I literally kick this to make this fall, this is not going to fall over. And that's it. So that's pretty much it for this bag. And if you guys want to see some comparisons of those new Nipx tools compared to some of the more common ones like the Greenlees and Kleins and whatnot, or those where screwdrivers compared to Kleins and other types, just let me know and I can make a video of those too. But that's it for this one, and we'll see you in the next video.